Well, happy Tuesday, everyone. Here we are once again, Bookkeepers on Fire. And today we're bringing Questian Telka, who is the principal founder of ReQoncile Financials, where she blends accounting technology and automation with a lot of stuff that's going on. And I think she can talk to us about those workflows in QBO too. She also has been named a top up and coming ProAdvisor of the year this year, just recently at Scaling New Heights, although I don't think she's up and coming. I think she's already been here for a while, but there we are. She's also beyond the numbers. She's a proud disability advocate, being on boards of nonprofits and champions social and vocational opportunities for people of all abilities. So, welcome, Question, and we are so looking forward to hearing everything that you're going to tell us today.
I think Question says so thin because she's so busy.
Yes.
I need to get busy.
Sometimes I do forget to eat, or like I run downstairs.
I have never forgotten.
Not a problem here.
I want to know your secret to forget to eat.
It's the busy thing. Honestly, it's an ADHD thing as well. Like I've heard it's a common.
Really about this ADHD thing.
Yep.
So tell us about that.
Yeah. I was late diagnosed with ADHD, which is pretty common for my generation because traditionally boys have a typical set of symptoms that kind of show themselves that are very different than the way it manifests a lot of times in women. So one of those examples would be that typically women don't have the hyperactive piece of it. I do actually have the hyperactive piece of it. As I was mentioning before, I'm like, I can't sit still. I'm like up and down from my seat all day and, find excuses to go downstairs and find snacks. Honestly, I'm like, oh, what reason can I find to go run off and, get out of my seat for a while. So, so I was late diagnosed with that. And when I got that diagnosis, I was like, wow, my whole life makes sense. Like now I understand why I am the way that I am.
So what does that mean, the way that you are? I mean, so what was the problem? I mean, I get up and down myself. When I'm talking on the phone, I'm never sitting talking on the phone. This is the longest I will sit for a podcast like this because the camera won't go around with me.
Yeah, I think like one of the ways that they described it that really helped me understand it was that, you're lacking dopamine, and so the way that the dopamine functions in our brain is different than for a typical person. And so what happens is, I'm seeing everyone say hi. Hi, everyone.
You have a lot of fans coming in and commenting.
I love that. So what typically happens is like I find myself able to really hyper focus at sometimes and not focus at others. And it's because I'm getting a dopamine reaction from certain things. So something, for example, that I'm like really interested in or really excited about, I find it easier to work on. And I procrastinate things that are like more difficult or are not things that I'm interested in. So it was really difficult for me to finish college. I finally did it, and I got straight A's when I finally did.
Oh,
but it took me like it took me a long time, but I did it. And I am really bad. Like I love hobbies. I mean, I will pick up a hobby and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm completely immersed in it. And I absolutely love it. And I will just completely dive in. And then all of a sudden I'm bored and I'm on to something else. And it's
what are
like
your hobbies? What are some of your hobbies?
Oh, photography, mountain biking, hiking. I paint. I haven't done that in a long time, actually. Let me think. What are some of my other hobbies? I mean, when it comes to like
explore things and then say, okay, I got what I wanted out of it. Let me go find something new. See,
I
would look at it.
That's true, except I have to have like all I have to have all the gadgets that go along with it, right?
ADHD.
You must. She's like, okay, we've diagnosed you now.
I love doing that. Like when I got into knitting, I had to have all the needles and all the stuff,
Yep.
So I get it. I get it. So, but that's great. So what are some techniques that you use so you don't get scattered? By the way, yesterday, this is interesting you mentioned dopamine. because I like to play games on my phone.
Oh yeah.
And I go down, like, why am I playing this stupid Royal Crush match, stupid thing? And I'm thinking, instead of I want to read more books. So I actually
Same.
ChatGPT'd it because you're getting a dopamine rush with that, while a book is a much slower burn. So
Yeah.
the technique I used to get rid of the games was I took them off my phone, so they're not there.
Yeah, yeah. I don't play the games on my phone, but I can never be doing like one thing at a time. And I think this is actually pretty common. I don't think this is necessarily an ADHD thing, but I'll be watching TV and I'm like, I cannot just sit and watch a TV show. I have to like pick up my phone and I'm on LinkedIn or I'm on some social media or I'm looking something up or
Aren't you
putting something in the
researching
chat GPT.
researching the topic that you're watching? I will watch a movie.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
Please give me the plot twist actors. Where else have the on?
IMDb, the actors.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And then if a historical one, oh, this is based on a true story. Let me read the true story.
Yeah. And then I want to know what happens.
Yeah, I'm done
And I'm
that
just going to
rabbit hole.
read it. Yeah.
Okay, then all right. I must have ADHD. Squirrel.
Squirreling. Yeah, I joke about it. That's what I call it. Shirley Koss and I say that all the time. She's like, "Oh, you're having a squirrel moment." I'm like, "Yes, pretty much." Or my ex-husband would say to me, "Oh, did a butterfly float by?" And that's pretty much all it would take. So,
Well, I think it's because you're so
um,
smart that everything interests you.
I love that way of
Yeah,
thinking about it. You're right. See, it can be a superpower too.
yeah. There you
And
go.
it can because you can really dive into and consume a lot of like knowledge in a short amount of time too. And if I'm really into it, then it's even more so. But you had asked me like one of the ways that I um deal with it is I cannot have notifications on anything. So I can't have
Right.
notifications on my computer or on my phone if I'm trying to work. I can't listen to music when I'm trying to concentrate because I can't I cannot focus on something intense and have music. It's a huge distraction for me because I also really love music too. So that's something I have to I know about myself. I've learned over time. And I have to take a lot of breaks and try and get in like as much movement as possible. And try to remember where my water glasses are because otherwise by the end of the day there'll be 10 half drink water glasses
Yeah,
like
I got
all around my house.
Yeah, usually I have glasses all over the house too, or I lose them. Like where my fingers are on top of my head. I can't find them. They're somewhere.
Has anybody seen my glasses?
I know. I need to put like one of those trackers on them.
Oh yeah, one of the or something that makes a bell sound or
Well,
one
that's
of
how
the
I find my phone. I use my Apple Watch. The main thing I use my Apple Watch for is to find my phone.
that's awesome. That is so funny.
So, do you
That
have
is
a task list that you handle every day? That you go, okay, I'm doing this, and then like a Pomodoro,
Yeah.
45 minutes. I take a 15-minute break, or
Yeah, and I try to do the hardest thing or the thing I want to do least first. So
good.
that's a tactic that I've tried over time to force myself to do because if it's something that I don't want to do, I'll procrastinate it farther. So it's like, okay, I'll start my days. Like, what are the things that I need to accomplish today? And let me choose the one that I want to do least because I'm going to want to do it even less later in the day than I do right now. So I try to do those first. So those are some things that have really worked for me, but it's definitely an ongoing struggle.
Sure, I get it. Now it's funny. Of course, you were at scaling with us, which was great.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they had David
So
Allen
good.
was one of the speakers, and he talked about you can only keep 4 things in your head. And, I mean, you keep stuff written down. I do that. I mean, like, where was I the other day? And I wrote it down. Hal goes, just remember it. No, I'm not remembering anything.
Like, I'm just going to write it. Like, I don't need
write it
to.
down in my
Yeah.
notebook, and then I put it together. And but I thought he was great at getting things done. He had that.
Yeah. It's it's good to recognize that you can only remember a certain number of things. I just feel like I have so many things happening in my brain at one time that
Yeah, he said brains are not for holding stuff; they're for having ideas and capture them in something. I thought he was great. Now, you were a speaker at Scaling, and one of your topics was imposter syndrome. And I heard that
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to attend. I heard that class was fabulous. So tell us about that.
That's so amazing. Yeah. So it was myself, Brittany Brown, Astrid Daniela Galvez, and Megan Tarnow, and she was moderating. And it was called Fearless and Flourishing, Overcoming Imposter Syndrome and Breaking Down Barriers for Women in Accounting. So almost our entire audience was women, but I will say that we did have 2 men join us, which was amazing and was very exciting. And yeah, we all just talked about and shared our stories because all of us have experienced imposter syndrome. And a moment for me that I shared during that class was that when I had spoken to Megan for one of the first times, and my business was much earlier in its infancy, and she had expressed to me that she had imposter syndrome about something. And I remember being like, my mouth dropped. I was just in shock because I was like, why? Why would you have imposter syndrome? Like, you are killing it. You have so much knowledge. You've been doing this for so long. Like, I couldn't understand how that was possible. And so then we start having these conversations with other women, and you realize that so many of us are suffering from the same, the same thing. And so one of the questions I asked during the session, Megan asked me, why did you want to do this? And I said, and I asked the audience who has imposter syndrome here, and pretty much every single woman in that
Now,
room
would you define
raised
what
their
that
hand.
means? So anybody that doesn't know, what does it mean to have imposter syndrome? What is
Yeah,
it?
so it means this. I would describe it, and this is how I kind of described it then, is this feeling like, no matter, at least for me, no matter how accomplished I am, no matter how much knowledge I have, that I don't have enough, and someone is going to find me out, right? Someone's going to finally figure it out, like, oh, she doesn't know what she's doing. She doesn't belong here. She shouldn't, doesn't have a place because she doesn't, hasn't gotten to this point. And what I realized is that there's no amount of information or knowledge or credentials or anything that I can get that makes that feeling go away. It's always there to
So what
some
do you do
degree.
about it? What do you do about it?
I think so one of the things that I think is important is to recognize when you do have accomplishments. And then something that I talk about a lot, and we share this on the podcast a lot too, is like really leaning into your community and your network of other women and your mentors, because they, our mentors and our friends and colleagues tend to see things in us that we don't see in ourselves. And vice versa. And so when you share those feelings, not only do you feel less alone, they feel less alone, but then they help you remember that what you have accomplished, right? And so trying to focus on also the things that you are doing and have accomplished instead of the things that you haven't. And I also think it's really important to avoid, even though we're human and this is natural, to avoid comparison, right?
Yes,
And that's really hard to do.
it's hard.
Really hard to do. Yeah.
Because anytime I
So
always say, anytime you compare yourself to somebody else, you're always in second place.
always. Yeah. Cause you're always going to find somebody to compare yourself to that you're not, that you don't feel like you
And
stack
you
up
don't know what
to.
they're feeling. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't know what they're feeling. They think you're better than them, and they think you're,
And
it,
you're, and
okay.
vice versa. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think this is really unique to women who have this
No.
more than men?
No, I don't necessarily think so. I think there are a lot of men that have it too that probably don't talk about it. Or maybe they don't put the words to it. I do think, and I can't say this is a blanket statement, of course, but I think that women are very good and in a lot of ways probably better because of our upbringing and the way that we've been raised differently at sometimes putting words to our emotions and our feelings.
Hmm.
And so spending the time kind of talking about and recognizing what it is and the imposter syndrome. I do believe that men also suffer from it too, but certainly and this is anecdotal, but certainly from my experience, they definitely talk about it less. And I think we used to not talk about it, but we're starting to more now, which I think is important to help alleviate it so that everyone, like I said, it's going to be there. I think it's always going to be there, but we can recognize it and then we can use tools to try and
Right.
overcome it.
Because I think growing up, we're taught. I know I was taught that don't brag.
Yep.
You don't boast. I mean, so if you've done something well, where
Yep.
you accomplished something, they kind of, well, you don't want anybody else to feel bad. Don't make a big deal of it. You'll look like a braggart, a boaster. And I'm thinking, if
Yep.
you did it, you did it. I mean,
That's right.
nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, you won top 25 up and comers. Oh, well, it really annoys me when people, well, I didn't mean much. No, you won the top 25. That's a big deal.
It means a lot, but I will say that when I won it, I was like, I don't deserve this. Like those thoughts start going through your
Yes,
head, right?
right.
And you have to.
Because you're going to be arrogant, think too much of yourself. You're going to look, yeah. So I think we need to stop doing that to ourselves.
Yeah, I agree.
And what's funny though is you see people that do that, and you think, "What a jerk!" I mean, because there is a fine line. All they talk about is themselves. Like, okay, we've heard enough about you. I mean,
there is, right? You want to have some humility.
Yes.
Right. So it's like you have it's important. And my parents tried to, I think it actually had the opposite effect a little bit because my parents tried to make me humble. And so they were constantly the same thing that you were saying, like, don't brag, don't boast. So I was always hearing not to brag and talk about yourself. And I don't think that I did, to some large degree. I think it was just something that they felt was important to be humble. And in the end, the effect was it impacted my self-esteem. And
Yes.
so then I
Yes.
just felt like I had confidence issues. So,
Right.
and
Now,
that
a
makes
little birdie told me that you were very shy when she met you.
which
And then
birdie?
you built your confidence on these stages in front of thousands of people. How did you build your confidence to get where you are today?
So it was something so when I was at the Bookkeeping Buds retreat, and I think it was the one that we first met at, Carla Caldwell got up in front of the room and she did a presentation, and I was just like, I want to do that. And there was no way I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, so I won't.
Yeah,
There was no way. Yeah, that word. That at that moment, I would have like passed out if I had to stand up. And that wasn't a huge room of people, right? So
right.
I started talking actually to Nancy about it, and she
And
knew, and
Nancy,
it was probably
Nancy is. Who's Nancy?
Nancy McClelland.
And
So
Nancy
she's
McCullen and Nancy what?
we have She Counts podcast, and it's a podcast all for women in accounting and our male allies and advocates.
Now, did you meet Nancy at Bookkeeping Buzz, or did you know her from before?
I met her on Slack. In Bookkeeping Bud's Slack channel. Yes. And I asked her to be my friend, and she told me no. So at first.
That sounds like Nancy.
That sounds about right. Yeah. Yeah.
But I tell you, it comes across like, Arr! But then when you get to know her, she's just like butter.
She's like a marshmallow. Yeah. Not physically, just emotionally.
Yes. So you met her on Slack, and so you asked her that you wanted to be a speaker, and then what happened?
Well, so I started, I think I don't think I even told her I wanted to be a speaker yet. I think I just wanted to be able to speak up like on a Zoom call or to network at a conference, for example. And so she said, go take Misty's course, which is
I'm a graduate of that too. Tops.
Yep. So
That's called the Theater of Public Speaking.
Yes. Yep. And Misty Mejia. And I took that course, and of course, I went in there and I was like sweating the first day. I was just like, don't ask me things, don't make me talk, like just panicking inside. And so I went through that entire course, and Krista, who works with Misty, said to me, like, what do you want to be able to accomplish? What do you want to do? And it was my first in QuickBooks Connect. And I said, I just want to be able to go up and talk to people at this conference and feel comfortable networking. And now I can't stop talking to anyone. So it worked.
I have to tell you though, question, you're very easy to talk to.
Oh, thank you.
Which I think makes a big difference. I mean, what's really great about you is, first up, your name is very weird.
That could be a blessing or a curse, right?
It's a blessing. It's a conversation starter. And I remember, I have no filters. So when I said, what kind of name is Question? And you were kind enough to tell me about your dad and how he named you. And I thought that how nice. I mean, you were really easy to talk to. And I think that makes
You?
you looked at people. I mean, I see how you are. I mean, you're just fabulous.
I love people.
Yeah.
I do. Like I really love everyone. So I enjoy having conversations. I love being at conferences because I it's even more fun to meet in person. But yeah, I was so self-conscious that
I
I
don't know why.
wouldn't
I
do
mean,
that
look at you.
before.
I mean,
Yeah. You came up and talked to me. I wasn't even sure who you were at the time. You were like, I'm going to be a guest on the show. I'm like, oh, great. Uh,
Like, who are you?
well, you
oh, let
always
me
have a
find out.
smiling face. Just your
Yeah, but you're
face is
so
always
nice.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I'm
never
really
walk
happy.
around. I mean, you always have you look very approachable, and I mean, you know, somebody that if somebody's lost, they would and you'd stop and look at them and help them. I mean,
I would. Yeah, absolutely
yeah,
I would.
yeah,
Can I come on here every day so that
sure.
you guys can tell me all these things?
We'll just put it on our text thing. John and I
Yeah.
do that for each other.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Yep.
need it sometimes, for
Yeah.
We
sure.
just
I have
have
a bad,
we have a
yeah, I have a
group.
bad day, Don, and she just sends me a heart emoji. You know,
Yep.
Aw. Sometimes that's why it's our community, our friends, our colleagues are so important because sometimes it's like someone will sense that you're having a bad day, right? Maybe they just don't hear from you and all of a sudden you get a text from them and it's like, good morning. And Shirley will send me like a good morning meme and it'll be something silly and funny, or someone else will just send, like a heart or hey, I miss you, whatever it is. And it's
right.
so important
It's amazing what those
because
little reach outs mean to people,
Mhm.
and
yes.
I'm very bad at it.
I
You know,
can attest to that, by the way. I can attest to it because I send stuff and
You
I'm
never hear
trying to be
anything.
better. In fact, my son called me this morning and kind of gave me the what for because I don't reach out enough to his new wife. What do you want me to say?
Oh.
He said to me, "Mom, you're not very mommy."
You're like, well, you're
Oh,
welcome.
yeah.
You're like, you got me. I'm
You're still alive.
amazing.
You're not dead. You're still alive. You know, I'll try to be more mommy, whatever that means.
He should be thanking you because, like, most of the time, I think the moms are like, "You don't call me enough. You don't reach out."
I
And
never
he's
call.
he's
I
he's
have a daughter.
calling you.
My daughter's 41. I'm gonna talk to her 4 times a year.
Oh my gosh! You're like,
Yeah,
I got things to do now.
yeah. And usually on the phone we just breathe. I go, anything
Yeah.
else, Marilee? No, I'm done. Okay, bye. Text me if you need me. I mean, we just. So anyway, I need to be more social. Now, my daughter-in-law, she's like that. She texts, calls, cards. I
Aw,
mean,
that's
she's great at
cute.
that. And my son
That's
is good
cute.
at it too. You should call your brother more often. Have you called your mother today? Well, I can't because she died. But all the time, yeah. I wish I was more like that. But so and I feel you're like that.
I am good with text messages, but I'm habitually bad with cards. And I think that also goes back to the ADHD thing. Like, I remember like 20 times that it's my parents' birthdays and they like cards. And I could care less about cards, to be perfectly honest. Like, if anybody, I mean, I like a nice note. I don't care how it comes. It doesn't need to be in a card. Like, you can write me a note, you could write me an email, text. I don't care. Call me. But they actually want like a physical card. I fail every
You know
year.
who's the card?
Every year.
You know who's that puts everybody to shame with their cards?
Who?
Cindy.
Oh,
Cindy.
Cindy, for sure. You're right. I
I'm not,
know because we get our goal setting cards.
she'll
Yeah.
she'll send you a
Yeah.
card out of the blue.
Yeah.
She
She
even
does.
tracked down
She's
my
good
new
at it.
address. I moved
She
and
did.
didn't tell anybody, and all of a sudden the cards are coming to my new address.
You're like, how did you know?
I don't know. She's
What
secret.
magic's going on there?
She's magical with that kind of stuff, And you're a bud, right? You're a bud.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
I'm
I
a
don't. Before we run out of time, I want you to talk about your podcast.
Oh, yeah. So Nancy and I started She Counts, which, as I mentioned, is a podcast for women in accounting and men. And it's all, or male advocates, I guess I should say. So it's all topic driven, right? So we have on guests, but we generally have guests on who are a subject matter expert on a certain topic. So, for example, it's not out yet, but we just had Twyla Verhelst come on, and she was talking to us about AI and tech and the part that we play as women in developing these pieces of technology, right? And how we need to play with them more. We need to play with AI, we need to play with technology, because those inputs that we are putting into like ChatGPT, for example, ChatGPT is learning, and if it's just learning based off of men playing with it,
Yeah,
then
speak
what's
up.
it gonna exactly. So it was like it's a really, I thought it was a really fun conversation. So that was one of our topics. We have had a topic on mentorship. We have one on facing our fears and doing it anyway. And so Nancy and I talk about some of the things that we've been most scared to do, like this podcast, for example. So and it's on basically any podcast channel you can get. But you can also, if you're an Earmark subscriber, you can get CPE for it, which
Oh
I
wow.
thought is like super cool, because, it's not your typical, I don't think it's dry and boring.
Now
So
let me
not that
ask you
anybody
a
else's
question.
is.
Let me ask you a question between me and you and Donna. Is
Yeah.
Nancy afraid of anything?
Um, Not much. No, it's really
I don't
funny
get the
because
impression that
I
she
don't
would
think
be.
she's afraid of
Yeah.
anything.
when we were talking about this, I was like, I'm scared to do this podcast. She's like, yeah, I'm really not scared of doing the podcast. Like, she has different set of fears than would be like, I think, what is typical, because she was raised to be very, very confident, which I think is a credit to her parents, to really like pushed her to be
Yeah.
confident and be sure of herself and things like that. So, but yeah, and I would say I know there are definitely things, but she hides it well, and she does it anyway. So
And that's what's I think that's what's great. Do it anyway.
yeah,
We're
that's
all
great.
afraid.
Yes.
Some of us just show it in different ways, but we all of us matter. I
That's
mean,
right. And we all get scared,
yeah,
So
you know,
I was scared. I went from being not wanting to speak in a Zoom call to going, are we actually on a podcast that we're recording bi-weekly, and I'm here with you guys, like recording a
live.
podcast? And then,
And we're
yeah, live.
live.
The first time I've done a live podcast.
It's
So
fun. I
it
mean,
is fun.
I think sometimes the best thing you can do to inspire other people is to do it wrong.
I agree. Yeah, show people that it's okay to make a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, you fail forward to success. If every time you did it perfectly, then you're not learning and growing.
I agree.
And I
Yeah.
tell clients that when they call up and their books are a mess, I go, "Oh, goody! If they weren't a mess, you wouldn't be talking to me."
Yeah, you wouldn't be my client.
Yeah, really. I mean, that's what I'm here for.
I do love a good mess, I will say. They
It's like
come and you're
I
like,
always tell people,
ooh.
I iron shirts. When I was in college, I made money by ironing the professor's shirts. And I take
You
this
were
mess and I made it nice and neat and tidy. And that's what I
you're
tell.
an you were an entrepreneurial spirit from the start.
Yeah, I always like to get stuff neat and tidy. So I thought that's what I do. I take this big pile of mess and I iron your shirt so it's nice looking on the hanger, and we can decide how you want to go to the prom. So
I
Very
love that.
nice.
well,
Like,
we're at time, and I want to thank you. This has been really fabulous. I mean,
Hey, I have one more question before
oh,
we
okay, Holly,
go.
go ahead.
yes.
So, are you working on anything super exciting right now that has you just like so excited about what you're doing?
I think the podcast would be it. And then, I'm going to be at Bridging the Gap talking about building resilience in personal and business life, and also talking about moderating a panel on ADHD and it being a superpower. And so those are the things I'm working on, I'm most excited about right now. I really love community and giving back to our bookkeepers and accountants, and sharing whatever I can that I have seen as a challenge, to help others feel like they aren't alone. So
And it comes
That's
across.
my
I mean,
favorite.
you can just tell. It just comes
Thank you.
across. You exude it.
Thank you.
So,
That makes me feel really good.
You've been a fabulous guest. Thank you so much.
This has been so fun.
I told you.
It goes by super quick too, huh?
It does. Yes. Amazing. Thank you guys for so much for having me.
Oh, we loved having you. We were excited that you were our guest today.
Me
I
too.
kept counting down, and then Donna said, "I haven't heard back from Question. I don't know if she's coming."
Oh yeah, I'm coming. I'm here.
Well, now we know why we didn't hear back. Here we are.
You do know now. You understand why. Yeah.
So I said,
Now
to
I
Donna,
get
"Is
it.
this
All
gonna be
right.
you talking? Oh, that should be fun." That's why when
It
you
goes a
start
different
out, you're
way.
all excited. But anyway, all right, Donna. Any last words before we sign off?
All right, we are good to go. So stay tuned. We have some more lives coming up, maybe on some different days, but we're definitely here on Tuesdays. And we are almost filled up for the entire year. So I know, pretty exciting, huh? So that's why we had to go to 2 days. So
Yeah.
we're working on that now. We have a new website, bookkeepersonfire.com, which we just launched over the weekend. And as always, it's not perfect and it will be a work in progress forever. We have more exciting things coming
I
up
worked real
too.
hard over the weekend. Not me.
Yeah.
I
We
was at
changed
Marco Island.
our.
I was at Marco
Yeah,
Island.
she was at Marco Island. I'm like, I did this. I'm doing this. Apple went down. Oh, it's back up. Spotify went down. It's back up. But our podcast is now on Apple, Spotify. Plus, we are now on iHeartMedia, or I think iHeartRadio. We're on Amazon Music and about 10 other podcast platforms. So we're out there all over the place.
Everywhere.
New podcast platforms, so that's getting posted. So please go listen to our old podcast because our analytics went down. So we need more.
Go subscribe to She Counts too.
And subscribe to She Counts too.
Yes.
I listen to them too.
Yep.
All right.
Yay!
So
All right,
everyone
thanks so
have
much.
a great
Until
week.
next time.
And
Thank
tell your
you.
friends.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.